All right, the massive financial regulation bill that many see as nothing more than an expansion of government, well, it got a big lift today. 2 Republicans and a holdout Democrat signaling their support for the bill, which will now likely pass on Thursday with a filibuster-proof 60 votes. So what about all of those unintended consequences that we keep telling you about here on the Willis Report? Our next guest says, get ready for the backlash to hit your wallet. Georgia Republican Senator Saxby Chambliss will vote no on this bill, and he joins me now. Senator, great to see you, sir.
Hey, good to be with you, Jerry. Thank you.
All right, I want to talk to you about some of these Republican senators who are saying, yes, let's have financial regulation. Olympia Snowe, for example, here's something that she said yesterday. Do we have that, son? Here's the quote. She said, while not perfect, the legislation takes necessary steps to implement that is meaningful regulatory reforms, create strong consumer protections, and restore confidence in the American financial system. Senator, what message would you have for Senators Snowe and Collins, who flip-flopped on this and decided to vote for it?
Well, Senator Collins had a major amendment that she got included in the bill, and I think once Susan saw that, then she was totally committed both to passage on the floor originally as well as to voting for the conference report. I'm not sure about Senator Collins, but let me just say that if you're looking at a bill that seeks to reform the financial system, this is not it. This is a bill. Well, the main issue that is missing here is the fact that the 2 largest financial entities that deal in the root cause of the problem, namely Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, are not even covered by this bill. And if you don't seek to address some regulation of those 2 entities or some long-term dismantling of those 2 entities, Jerry, then the federal government's going to remain exposed. We've got an exposure of some $5 trillion with just those 2 entities right now. So well, that's just one of the major issues.
Senator Scott Brown said he was opposing the bill originally because it didn't cover Fannie and Freddie, and then he turned around on it. What do you make of that?
Well, I understand that there were some special interests that were covered in the bill that apply to Massachusetts, some financial institutions there, but of course you have to remember that the chairman of the conference committee is from Massachusetts, Congressman Barney Frank, so that's no surprise to anybody that Massachusetts was looked after. Is this just a bill
larded up with sweetheart deals provided by lobbyists to get this thing passed?
Well, I'm not sure you could characterize it that way, the same way as maybe the health care bill or some other things have been. But here's what did happen, Jerry. We had a real overreach by the Democrats in this instance to go after Wall Street, which there needed to be issues addressed on Wall Street. And we did make a real, put in here a real strong provision that eliminates too big to fail. But the problem you have is that there was a real overreach in the Consumer Protection Agency. There was a real overreach in the derivatives title. Derivatives people's eyes sort of gloss over when you start talking about that, but it's critically important to the day-to-day operation of virtually every business in America. And what's going to happen with this bill is that it's going to translate into higher consumer costs, which means that taxpayers are going to pay more.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate with you here for just a second, because the bill, as it's been laid out to us, would actually help consumers figure out what the products they should be using, financial products, heavily regulating mortgages, credit cards, auto loans out there. So how does that cost me more money at the end of the day?
Well, what manufacturers do and what other businesses, even outside of manufacturers like airlines and utilities do in order to provide for stability in pricing of their products over a long term, say 3 to 5 years, is that they use derivatives to stabilize the interest rate that they know they're going to have to pay. They don't want volatility in interest rates because it'll directly affect the cost of their products. Now, those particular entities that, Jerry, were not a cause of the financial meltdown, they played no role in this, they are now going to have to fork up margins that are going to be extremely expensive to those businesses. If they're not an end user, they're going to have to clear those derivatives. That's going to translate into huge additional costs
You're saying those
that have been
costs will flow
estimated to go
through
into
to
the
the
trillions
American
of dollars.
public. All right,
Well,
Senator.
there's only one way for it to go.
I'm sorry, Congressman. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. Looks like that bill's going to pass and become law. The president's going to sign it. Thank you.
Okay.
Coming up, the Taliban has a new secret